Richard.
Roberta, great to see you.
Good to see you too.
How are you?
I've been better.
Better.
Yeah,
Tell me,
yeah.
what's going on?
You're my coach, you're going to help me here. Well, you know, I'm new in this school, and I've done all my entry plan, not all my entry plan, but I've collected a bunch of early data, and you know, we have needs for sure. We have achievement needs. We're not where we need to be. But I did as part of my I've met with lots of people. I'm not done meeting with people. I still have more people to meet with. But I collected data from the students and staff. And it sounds like in addition to achievement not being where it should be, that there's some morale issues, that people just don't feel happy about this place. And communication issues, I'm not quite clear what the morale issues are, but morale is low, staff and students, with some alignment perhaps between those two data points. So, so that's a concern. My problem is, the immediate problem is I have a leadership team. It's been the long-standing leadership team. It consists of the department heads and the SASs. I keep wanting to call them SES, but they're not. They're called SAS, Subject Area Specialists. And there's 11 of them, plus the AP. She's been here about 4 or 5 years. She wanted my job, so that's a piece of history here. I don't know chapter and verse about why she didn't get it. I could guess, but I don't think she's got the skill set to do it. But she also probably had considerably more latitude, leadership latitude, under the prior principal. You know, big muscles that she could exercise a lot, and so she probably feels differently about that in the face of someone new, someone different, and someone just unknown to her. She's not so secure at the moment with what's happening. So I've had 2 leadership team meetings since school started. We're only in the 2nd month of school. Doesn't count some of the summer entry work that I did. In the first one, I shared a theory of action, some, you know, the sort of not stock and trade stuff, but stuff about these are the things we need to get in place to move achievement. These are the planks. It's pretty standard stuff. You would have seen them before. Nothing unusual about them. And building a collaborative culture was a piece of that. A powerful collaborative culture where people can come around together and push the boulders with common shoulders, as it were, in terms of with a shared vision of where we need to go, a shared set of beliefs, and some shared understanding about how we're going to do the work. Long way to go. And this leadership team doesn't have a history of doing that work. They have a practice of sharing round robin reading, sharing the departments, what is each department doing, what's everybody up to, and then they get a report from the school-wide data team, which meets somewhere else, it's a different team, and they're parsing the data for the school and reporting on it here. And they simply report on it, nothing happens. So I think there's plenty of room to grow a leadership team here that does some real leadership work for the school. And I thought that beginning with the data points that I had around morale might be a way in this 2nd meeting just to begin, perhaps to change a little bit of the way we do things. So I put out there that as an agenda item that one of the things we could do today, in addition to what we typically do, would be to look at this data set, because it's perhaps an opportunity for us to actually get our hands dirty with data, as opposed to having it all be happen in the room next door with another team, and perhaps come together around a data set that sounds like it might mean we need to get better at something and figure out what do we think we could do. So that was my plan. I thought it was a reasonable plan. And Miss Peach says, when I put that on the table and began the meeting, 2 things. She said, I don't agree with the data, and I didn't understand what that meant. The data's data, how could you not agree with it? And what she really said was, I mistrust the data. I don't think we're like that. I don't believe it. And I don't think that's the work that we should be doing in this room. And so she took me by surprise. I didn't know she was going to say that. She floored me, as it were. I haven't had that kind of interaction with her before. We've had mostly more managerial conversations about what she's doing, what I'm expecting her to do. I haven't had a come to Jesus meeting of any kind with her, although I need to have one. But so I didn't know what to do. I thought, oh, you creep, you just hijacked my meeting. And I wanted to kind of kick her off the island. But that didn't seem to be an option. And so I thought, what I said was, gee, you've got some pretty strong feelings about this, Miss Peach. So, and honestly, I have not heard that before. I don't quite know how to respond at this point, right here in the room, in this meeting. So my first response would be, I need to think about it. and I need to process it. I probably need to go back and have a conversation with you. And once I've done that, we're going to come back to it again as an item for this people in the room. But it wasn't quite like disbanding the PPT when the parents ready to call the cops. But we continued the agenda. I just took that off for now and said, we shall return to this. But I didn't know what to do. So that's my problem. I got this seemingly hostile, but certainly negative person who's challenging my leadership, either me or my credibility or the direction I want to go in, all of the above. I don't know if she's a singleton or a group player. I don't know what I got.
You've used word hostile, challenging. What evidence do you have that she's in fact challenging your leadership?
Well, hostile is probably an overstatement. That's a personal statement, and I felt attacked. So she might not have been hostile, and I might have felt attacked, and she wasn't being hostile. But it felt challenging to me to have somebody of 11 people, all of whom are in leadership positions, which are part of a team, but not the head of the team, as it were, to say, we don't want to be doing what you think we should be doing. That seemed challenging to me. And I didn't know what to make of the fact that she was actually challenging the data. I don't believe the data. What does that mean? You mean you think the data lies, or Roberta lies, or you just don't believe in data? I don't know what that means, but they both felt challenging to me, Richard.
So are there, can we talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely.
What are some possible things that could be going on with Ms. Peach?
Ms. Peach could have wanted my job. That's one thing. Again, Ms. Peach could have had a larger sphere of influence, and maybe Ms. Peach would like to have been consulted about the agenda. Maybe she'd like to be part of crafting this leadership plan. I mean, I don't know. I literally didn't think about that until now, but that could have been that I circumvented her as the second in command as part of the leadership. It could be that I don't know the reason for the negative data around staff and student morale, but I'm pretty sure, because she's been there for a while, she knows more than I do. I don't know what the skeletons are in the closet. I don't know what I'm going to uncover when I find out about why does the school feel that way. I don't know that, and I don't know if that's implicated in it all in her behavior.
So I know you're saying you don't know, but are you assuming that she might be related to skeletons in the closet?
No, I'm not assuming that she's the skeleton in the closet. I'm just assuming she has the knowledge base around it. She better understands the situation, the history, that I don't understand. Right. She may be the skeleton. I don't know that. But I wasn't blaming her for that data. I was simply saying, and maybe she's right. I don't know. Maybe the data's wrong. I have no idea.
So what's the real problem here?
The real problem is I don't think the real problem is that I came to the meeting with a plan to move forward with an agenda item that I thought was worth moving forward and might have take a baby step toward transforming the way we do the work. And I encountered a roadblock from someone in the room. And I need to figure out what that roadblock means for the work, for my leadership and for the work. Why the roadblock? What's that roadblock about?
So just help me understand. She says, I don't agree with the data, I mistrust the data, I don't think this is the right topic.
Right.
Help me understand how that's a roadblock.
That's a great question. I assumed that it meant that she didn't think we should be working on staff and student morale as an initial piece of work for the leadership team. And I think we should.
So you're saying that if she disagrees with you, that makes her a roadblock?
Well, it felt like she put down the gauntlet in the room that said, we shouldn't be doing this. And I wasn't prepared, so maybe it's about me. I wasn't prepared to have a conversation in the room about why not. Maybe I should have. Why do you think we shouldn't open the door to find out whether we should be working on this or not, as a starting point for reshaping school culture as a bedrock for improving achievement. So.
Well, let's play this forward a little bit. Let's imagine that that you're able to resolve this in a very positive way. What would that look like? What would the good result
be? Good result, that's also a great question. The good result would be, number one, that I had opened a door to a conversation with her and maybe with the team that said, why do we think we need to do this? What's important about doing this? How do we understand this data? What does it mean about our school? What's in this data for us that helps us understand what we might like it to look like if it were better? And we could come to some sort of shared understanding about why to do this and what it might look like if we did it. And if she were on board as part of that, better yet, if we were all there around it. If in fact she were to come away from that feeling herself that she'd made a contribution to that reconstruction, better yet. If I could make an ally out of an enemy, if that's what she is at this point, better yet. Great. So that would be a win-win for me. And maybe I missed an opportunity to kind of begin to do that. But she so floored me and took me by surprise that I just sort of shut down and said, I don't want to deal with this right now. Doesn't mean I can't deal with it tomorrow or the next day. We can't reconstruct. But reconstruction is where we're going, around some common understanding of what needs to be reconstructed.
So on this theme of reconstruction, you seem to have a very clear image of what this could look like, and one that might get you from this particular challenge to the bigger sense of what you want in a collaborative culture, right? So what are some of the strategies? How might you engage her, the group? What are your next steps towards that picture?
Well, the step that I was planning to take that got derailed was to look at the data together and to do a data protocol and to say, what is this data telling us? What do we notice in the data? What students versus staff? What do we think the data means? What other data do we need to have to better understand this? And once we have that, then to use them as a shared sounding board to say, if we took this piece of change work, assuming that the data says everything isn't hunky-dory in Denmark, what might it look like if it were better? To use them to kind of reshape a vision of what it would look like if it were better, and an action plan for what could we do to make this better? Even if we farm it out to other people, we don't have to actually do the work. What would it look like? If we could nail that as a plan within a short time frame, as a first piece of leadership work for new principal, and if I could help them see, this is not our year-long most important goal. It is a year-long, very important goal, but it's not gonna trump or put to bed the stuff that data team is over there about reading and writing and algebra and whatever they're doing. That's terribly important. But I want to build the connections between the two goals, and I would want this work to go side by side along with that. And I would want this group in the room to begin to feel like, hey, we're doing some really important work here.
So it sounds as if there are a number of moving pieces in your theory of action here. But I want to take you back to the place where you said I was starting this, and it was interrupted. So let's go back. It did get interrupted. Now let's think about how to get out of this. So between this point that has happened with Ms. Peach and the rest of the group, what are the possible strategies for intervening now?
Well, for a start, I have to talk to her. I have to have a one-to-one with her, and I have to try to understand where she's coming from. You know, she has to hear me say, I'm not happy. That didn't go well. It didn't go the way I was hoping that a meeting would go. We're going to have conflict and disagreements, but we have to have some respectful ways to handle them. I think that's important for me as a person, and I would want people to feel that I'm going to treat them the way I hope to be treated. I didn't feel well treated in that meeting by you, and so I want to model better treatment.
So what does that really look like in the meeting with her?
In a meeting with her, it looks like inviting her to share with me what she's feeling, what happened there, what's going on, to the degree that she feels comfortable. She's not going to tell me, I understand at even in a closed door, that I didn't get their job and I'm pissed as hell, if that's what it was. But she might tell me what she thinks about the data and why we shouldn't be doing that. And I want her to understand my perspective on why that agenda, in terms of dealing with the data around staff and student morale, might be important for the school, the school's health, and for student achievement in the long run. I probably would hope that as a first step in reconstruction, I might open the door to her, at least opening up to me a little bit about how she feels about this issue. I don't want her life story, but also invite her, if this is probably pie in the sky, Richard, which would be, what kind of role could you play in this leadership work? I need this. It's more work than one person can do. You are the second in command here.
So why is that pie in the sky?
Well, it's pie in the sky to ask for peace, love, and harmony in your second date when you've had a blow up on your first date.
What, are you assuming that she experienced it like a blow up?
I don't know that. No, that's a good point. I don't know that. I'm assuming she got what she wanted out of that meeting, but that may not be right. She came in to derail something, and I let her derail it. But I'm not derailing it. I'm just taking it back in the, let's talk about this in my office, baby. Then we're going back out there again. I'd like to go out back with a arm in arm, like we're all in this together now, and we have a better understanding. And maybe we could set some norms about how we handle disagreement if we disagree next time, because somebody will disagree with something. It's going to happen.
So I just want to just check, because I keep hearing certain language around around what her intentions would be, and I just wonder: are there other ways? Are there other possible intentions that she could have been holding going on to the meeting?
They could, but I don't know. Yes, for sure, and I don't know what they are. How would I know? If I knew, I would know. The question is, if I ask her, that's one way. I suppose the other way to find out, to get perspective on what happened, would be to check with other folks who were in the room also. And again, I don't know any of them well yet. I haven't really got strong alliances yet in my new team, but I might start with at least one or two of the folks that I think might become my strongest confidants. Mm-hmm. You can't really tell after meeting two. It's still a slippery slope. See if I can get a better sense from a perspective from someone else as to what do you think was going on. Because I don't know if this one's a singleton or a power broker.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So a lot of information to glean in this process.
What data do I need to better understand what happened? Yeah, yeah.
And are there other ways you can capitalize on this moment, given that one of your powerful stakes in the ground on theory of action is the collaborative culture? How do you use this kind of moment of tension to clarify what you want in collaboration?
Well, I think I have to model collaborative solutions to the problem and respectful treatment and respectful engagement with all the parties, even if in fact she's an adversary. I don't know if she is or isn't. I don't know what's going on, but I have to model what I want it to look like when we were to get there. That makes it harder and slower, and it's a pain in the neck because we'd just like to kick him in the butt and just go there. But
that's kind of the problem of collaboration.
Yes, right. But it won't be a collaborative product if I take it there myself. I can't make it happen alone. It's not how it works.
So I know that you're going into a meeting soon. Talk to me about where are you thinking about going from here? I know you want to have this meeting, but talk to me about your next steps.
I would have a meeting with her and see if we can accomplish some clearing of the air and a better understanding from me, give her an opportunity for me to understand what was happening and what she meant by what she said. I would also, I'm thinking about this, I would want to check the perspectives of a couple of other people in the room. I don't know, here's a question I don't know the answer to. I don't know if I would want, I feel like I want to say that to her as well, so she knows that I am going to at least have a conversation with I don't want to act behind her back because I don't think that's respectful. I'm not checking on her. I'm checking to find out, what was that like for you, sweetheart? How did that meeting go? And what do you think we should do from here? And then I would try to engage her in constructing a plan to go forward with this data drill, to mine this data for an improvement zone for the school. She could reject all of that, in which case then I don't know what to do. Then I'm left figuring I've got to go forward with this anyway because I think it's important work for us to do. In which case I probably have to construct a different scenario as to what I take to that leadership team next time, which is here's where I think we ought to go, here's why, can we go there together, and then figure out how to make her be, if she doesn't want to assume a leadership part, how to at least get her to be a constructive part of that work, if not a leaderly part of the work.
So how about the next time we're together, we talk about how things go?
Yes, how my meetings go, and maybe I could share with you my plans for that next meeting.
Sounds like a plan.
Thank you.
Thank you.